Hello folks, welcome to another part in the zombie shooter tutorial series. Today we're going to take a look at our quest rewards UI. We're going to generate a quest reward UI function that's going to add to your quest UI with all of the quests that you have to show you what reward you will get for completing the quest. Additionally, we're also going to do a feed system where whenever you complete a quest, the rewards are going to show up on the right side of your screen, stay there for a couple seconds, and it's going to disappear in the order that they actually appeared in. This is going to be a fun tutorial, and if you like this type of content, don't forget to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel because we have more and more videos of this type coming up soon. Anyways, let's get into the video now. First, we're going to create the UI, and then we're going to come back here to implement the UI function. So let's go to our content drawer quest system UI folder, and let's create a new user interface of type widget blueprint. Open up the user widget, and we're going to name this W_quest rewards. Let's open this up, and we're going to make this very simple. We're going to start with a size box, and then drop it onto our hierarchy here, and then followed by a horizontal box. And this horizontal box is going to have an image, and also it's going to have a text block. Let's set this to desired on screen. And the text block, we are going to resize this to about 15, and we need to center this. And I also would like to have some padding. Right now, the text is touching the picture, so I want to do some left padding, and let's do about 3. That looks pretty good. Compile and save it. I want to select the size box and do a width override, and then increase the size until the size box is beyond our text block, just a couple units here. And then go ahead and save this. Now we're going to go back to our content drawer and open up our quest info. And here we have our quest name followed by the objectives. And followed by this, I want to have our rewards. Now here you can choose to use either a horizontal box or a vertical box. Let me show you how both of them looks like. So drag in your horizontal box on top of this vertical box here. And then here you can now go ahead and search for our quest rewards, and then add it to our horizontal box, so it will show up like this. So if you go ahead and duplicate this, if you use a horizontal box, your quest rewards will be to the right of each and every single quest reward. But however, if you right-click on this horizontal box, and if you replace it with a vertical box, then all of your quest rewards will show up like this. So this is more preference. I like the horizontal box look, so I'm going to go ahead and replace this with a horizontal box. And while having the horizontal box selected, I'm going to name this as quest rewards underscore container and make this a variable. Compile and save it. And we don't need these 3 here anymore. That looks good. Now back in our quest rewards, I'm going to select the image, and this is going to be our reward underscore image, and make sure it's a variable. And also our text block, this is going to be reward underscore text, and make sure this is a variable. Compile and save. In our user graph off of event construct, let's go ahead and delete these 2. Drag in your reward image and drag from your reward image, and we're going to set brush from texture, and then connect this node here. And for the reward text, we're going to go ahead and do a get, and here we're going to set text just like this. Compile and then save it. Now we need to define these 2. So we're going to add in a variable, and this would be our rewards info. This is going to be of type quest rewards. So st rewards. Let's make this instance editable and also expose on spawn. Compile and save. Now we're going to drag in this rewards info and do a get, and then do a break. Now the text here is going to show the amount of the rewards. If it is XP, and if you're going to hand out 100 XP, then it's going to say 100. As for the image, we don't really have an image in our structure, so let's go ahead and add that. So I'm going to go to our content drawer, quest system, data, and then open up our st rewards and add in a new variable. And this would be our reward image. Set this to a texture 2D image, and then save. And back in our quest rewards, now we have our reward image. So now we can just go ahead and plug this in here just like this. You can choose to add more information to your reward tab, but for now, the picture and also the quantity, I think it will do the trick. So I'm going to go ahead and compile and hide unconnected pins here, and then save. In our quest info, let's go to our graph. In our event construct, where we are creating the objective info, we are going to now create a sequence first, and then connect in this false in our sequence. Then we're going to do then one for our objective. So first we want to go ahead and build all of our objective information. Then let's select our quest data and then make sure that the rewards is showing up as a pin. Then here we want to do a for each loop and connect this to then one of the sequence. And here we want to now go ahead and create widget. And this would be our quest rewards. And this will require the rewards info, which is our array element. So we can go ahead and plug it in here. And for the return value, we're going to go find our quest rewards container and then do a add child. And then connect the execution pin and the return value to the content. Compile and save this. Now let's go ahead and test this out. So in our DT quest, I'm going to make sure that the reward type is an item. And there's going to be a candy bar. And for the reward image, I should have an image of a candy bar. So that should be a choco bar. In our second quest where the reward type is XP, I went ahead and I downloaded a quick XP icon. So I'm going to go ahead and use that as our icon here. So let's go ahead and save. And now when we press play, we can go pick up a quest. And you can see that our tracker is also showing our rewards. And if I press U and go to my side quest, you can see that this quest is going to give me a choco bar and this quest is going to give me 100 XP. Now, some of you may not like this quest reward showing up on the tracker. You just like to see it on your quest UI, but not the tracker itself. And you can simply use a Boolean to enable or disable this. So for example, you can go to your quest info. We can create a new variable, and this would be do not show rewards. And then let's make this instance editable and also expose on spawn. We want to drag this do not show rewards, and then we're going to do a branch here. And if this do not show rewards is set to true, then we don't want to do this loop. But if it is set to false, then we're going to go ahead and set this execution of a false. And then one, we will connect it to the branch just like this. And next, we're going to open up our quest tracker. And this is where our tracker information is. And then here, where we're creating the quest info widget, we're going to enable this to true. Compile and save it. Now, if I press play and go pick up some quest, our quest tracker is not showing any rewards information. However, now if I press U and if I go to the side quest is still showing the rewards information. Now, the last thing I want to do is on the right side or the left side, doesn't matter. I want to add in a little notification showing what are the rewards that the player just got for completing the quest. For this, we're going to go to our content door for our quest system UI folder. And then we're going to create a new user interface widget. And user widget, this will be w_rewards feed. Open this up. And inside of this, we're going to add in a size box. And inside the size box, we're going to do a vertical box. And inside the vertical box, we're going to do a wrap box. This wrap box, we're going to select it. And in the inner slot padding on Y, we're going to set this to about 5. So it creates a little gap in between the first item and also the second item. And I'm going to select the size box and then set this to desired on screen. And now with the size box selected, we're going to go ahead and enable our width and our height override. Height is going to be about 400 and the width, we're going to set this to about 100. And now I'm going to search for our quest reward widget blueprint and then add it to the wrap box to see how this looks. And then I think I can increase the width to about 150. That looks pretty good. And if I go ahead and duplicate it, you can see that it's just continuously keeps adding it to this queue. And what we need to do here is we want to select this wrap box and we want to rename this to our rewards feed_container. Make this a variable and then compile. Now we're going to go to our graph and then add in a custom event. And we're going to name this event_add child to feed. Compile. And this event is going to have an input, and this input is going to be named as widget, and it's going to be of type widget object reference. And we're going to drag in our rewards container, and we're going to add child, and then connect the execution pin and also the widget. Now we want to generate the actual quest reward from a different blueprint, most likely our quest manager. And then we want to add it to our feed here, because if we were to go ahead and create this feed widget every time, then you're going to create this vertical box and this feed container again and again. And that's redundant and we don't need this. So let's go ahead and implement this rewards feed. In our content drawer, we're going to go to core, UI, and open up our player HUD. In our player HUD, we're going to search for our rewards feed and then drag this onto our canvas panel. Select the rewards feed and set the anchor to the right side, but we're going to do it on the center right. And then set the position to 0 and 0 on position X and Y. And we're going to now move this in and put it right below where our quest is, but just above our ID card. So if you get like 10 rewards, it should be able to fill this, but we're hoping that you don't get like 10, 15 rewards at the same time, right? So let's go ahead and compile and save this. So now we can go ahead and start calling in this reward feed. So in our BPC quest, where we have our handle rewards, we're going to actually create the widget before we go ahead and handle the reward. So we're going to do a sequence for this. So add in a sequence node and then connect this to our sequence. And then one, we're going to connect it to our regular reward function. But off of then 0, we want to go ahead and create our widget. This is going to be our rewards widget, quest rewards. We need the reward info, so we can actually just plug this reward info directly in here. And this return value, we want to now add it to our rewards feed. And our rewards feed is in our player HUD. And our player HUD is a variable in our third-person character. So we're going to use the interface function to communicate this over. So we're going to go over to our BPI quest and then add in a new interface function. And this is going to be update quest rewards feed. And this is going to have an input, and this would be of type widget. And then it's also going to be of type widget object reference. Now in our BP quest, we can get our player character. And here we're going to call for update quest rewards feed. Connect the node and the return value connected to the widget. Compile and save this. Now we need to go to our third-person character. And in the interface, we should now have our update quest rewards feed. Double click on it to add it in here. We're going to get a reference to our player HUD, which is our W player HUD reference. From here, we're going to get a reference to our rewards feed variable. And from here, we're going to call in the function that we have in our rewards feed, and it is called event add child to feed. We're going to go ahead and call in the function event add child to feed. And then now we can go ahead and connect this here. This will now create the reward widget, and then it will add it to our reward feed instead of having to create this feed again and again. So if I go ahead and press play, and if I pick up a quest and kill some zombies, 1, 2, and 3, right below the tracker, you should see that I just see a choco bar and it shows as 1. Let's make this a little bit bigger. To increase the size, I'm going to go to our quest rewards, select our size box, and then set this to about 175. And then the image, I'm going to make our X to go about 45. We can make our Y 45. And our text block, we're going to increase the size to about 20. And also in our player HUD, I'm just going to move this a little bit more closer down here. Just like this, a little bit more closer, not like all the way to the side. And the last thing I want to do is I want to wrap this size box with a vertical box. And then inside of this first vertical box, I want to add in a text and then move the text all the way to the top. Oh, just in between. And then here, I want this text to read rewards. And then I want to add in a border right below this rewards and then just leave it as it is. And next, I want to right click on the size blocks again. And then we want to wrap it with the border. And this border, I'm going to set this back brush color to black and then also the alpha channel to 0.3. So it creates a little bit of a nice background. Compile and save this. Now, if I go ahead and press play, you should see the rewards is actually showing up just like that. And if I pull out my weapon, and if I go ahead and kill some zombies, 1, 2, and 3, you should see my reward 1, and then the second reward is going to show up like that. Right now, if you go back to your player HUD, you see that the size box is extended out. That's because as soon as we wrap it with the border, the height override starts kicking in. So we can just disconnect this height override, and it's no longer going to go ahead and sit on top of the player HUD. And also, we don't want this rewards and this border showing up immediately as soon as the game starts. So in our reward feed off of graph, we're going to go to our event construct. We're going to call for a custom event here. So create a custom event. And this would be hide underscore title. And we're going to create another custom event. And this is going to be show underscore title. Under hide title, we're going to go ahead and drag off this and say set visibility and do the function and set this visibility to collapsed. And the target is going to be self. And under show title, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to copy and paste this set visibility and then set this to visible and then set this to self. And when we do an event construct, we're going to go ahead and hide our title. And when we add an event to the child feed, we're going to show title first. And then we're going to go ahead and do the rewards. So if I press play, the rewards screen is no longer available there. And then now if I pick up a quest, and now if I go ahead and kill some zombies, as soon as I start getting rewards, you should see the rewards popping up on the right side. And then more rewards pop up, which is good. Now the reward is going to stay on the screen indefinitely because we haven't done a hide function. So let's go ahead and do a hide function. And I don't want to do a simple hide function. I want to do a function where it hides the first item that you received, followed by the second item, and so on. So for this, we're going to go ahead and create another custom event. And this is going to be named as clear feed. And in this clear feed, first we're going to drag in our rewards container and we're going to get all children. And we're going to check to see if this is empty. And then do a branch and connect this to the branch like this. Now, if the children is empty, then we don't need to do anything here. But if the children are not empty, then we want to now go ahead and promote this children to a variable. So let's go ahead and do a set. And this is, we're going to name this as our feed children array. And here we want to get a copy of our first child from our array here. And we want to do a remove. And make sure you select the array remove item, not the map, the array remove item. And then do a set. And off of this Boolean that comes out of this remove, we're going to go ahead and do a branch. And if this remove is successful, then we want to go ahead and drag in our rewards feed container again. And we want to clear children. Then we want to get our feed children's array. We want to check to see if it is empty. And in the event that this is not empty, off of true, where our child array is empty, we're going to go ahead and hide our title. But if the array is not empty, then we want to drag in our feed children array. And then we want to do a for each loop. And then connect this to the false. And off of our loop body, we want to drag in our rewards container. And we want to add child. This is more of a refresh function. We're basically removing everything from our feed container and then re-adding it. So this is what allows it to slowly hide the rewards based on how they are actually added in. Now we want to call in this clear feed functions. Whenever we call in the event to add our child, we want to call in a event by timer. So if I go ahead and search for set timer by event, I should have this event. And there's two ways to call this clear feed. One is to connect this directly. Or the number two, which I like the best, is to drag off of this event. And under event dispatchers, we can now go ahead and create an event, which will add a little node. And under this select function, we can call for this clear feed. And it will basically do the same thing. It will call this function. We're going to set up a timer for about 3 seconds. Now, this timer is basically how long each line of your reward is going to stay on the screen before it disappears slowly. So that means if you have 2 rewards, the second reward is going to disappear in 6 seconds, and so on and so forth. So we want to do a looping. Again, this is for testing purposes. You can make this as short as you would like. And we're going to make this looping. So that means every 3 seconds, this function is going to go and check to make sure that our feed is clear. So let's go ahead and test it. So if I press play, go ahead and grab some quests. And if I press U, you can see that our quest is updated with our quest rewards. Our quest tracker is empty because we don't want to show any quest here or rewards here. Grab my weapon and kill the first zombie. Second, third, you can see my first reward just showed up. And I'm going to kill a second zombie and the second reward just showed up. And then you'll see after 3 seconds, the first one disappeared. And after another 3 seconds, The second one disappeared, and because there's no more rewards to show, the entire title feed disappears. All right, folks, that's all I have for you for today. In our next video, we're going to take a look at the most requested video from my channel is the quest giver and the UI for the quest giver. So we're going to take a look at that in our next video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified as soon as that video gets released. And also feel free to like this video if this video had helped you in any way. I'll catch you all in the next video. Until then, have yourself a great day.